Hey everyone, welcome back to the Scotch Malt Whiskey Society of America. I'm Ben, and I'm joined by an unfamiliar face. Introduce yourself, unfamiliar face.
My name is Casey Cott. I'm an actor by trade. Recently became friends with Ben, and new member of the society. Loving every minute, and Ben graciously asked me to join him for this this new release.
Casey is very different from Scott and Orlin, as you both know. Unfortunately, they're unable to join us. We have a very, very real reason for that. The whiskeys just came into stock. I just got these whiskeys we're about to taste tonight, just a few hours ago. Casey graciously jumped in conveniently because he lives right next door to me. Mm-hmm. So Casey, as he said,
it was a long commute.
Long commute, 30 feet. Fellow society member, and so yeah, I roped him into this, I think, quite epic tasting we have here tonight. Of course, this is our July Outturn preview tasting. Together, we'll be uncorking and tasting a selection of 5 different whiskeys. All of these are coming out tomorrow at 1 o'clock Eastern time as part of our July Outturn, and it'll be quite an undertaking. We've done a tasting together. Mm-hmm. Actually, as you can see, we're in a new location, which is just my patio outside, but we've sat down. So you've gone through it. Just for context, tell everybody your own how you got interested in the whiskey, where you're at right now, what are you liking, just so they get a sense of where your palate's at.
Absolutely, I'm definitely a beginner to this level and sophistication of what we're going to taste today. But Ben graciously walked me through a tasting a couple weeks ago, which obviously I joined as soon as that happened. I started drinking whiskey probably in my mid to late 20s. I have an older brother who definitely has been into it since he was young 20s, I guess. But I kind of was always pushed towards the big names out there, the ones we all know from, the Macallans and Lefroy's, whatnot. So to be introduced into this single cask, single malt has been super educational and exciting. With that said, I'm still a beginner, so some of my reactions might be more fun and entertaining than they are educational.
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody, you guys out watching, you would agree. There's no right or wrong answers. We're just going to taste through these.
But as an actor, I have a lot of feelings, so I can definitely tell you what it is making me feel when it touches my palate.
So, okay, so at least we got someone who's not shy in front of a camera, because it can quite daunting to. Well, first of all, just to focus on all the flavors and aromas, and articulate that. Okay, with all these lights. Anyway, you guys don't have to worry about that. We're gonna get into tonight's. Just a random question: what's the most memorable whiskey you've had so far? Can you think of anything that sticks out, or something you said this really speaks to me?
The most memorable whiskey I've had, I would say, outside of an experience, probably, and just pure taste. I think it's a great question. It'd definitely be something I've had with my brother along the line at some point. I think that one of the first bottles he gave me, I think he gave me a Macallan 12, and it was the first nice Scotch I had tasted. And I remember thinking, this is completely different than the vodka sodas I'd probably be drinking at the time as a 23-year-old. And I had this really nice bottle of Macallan on my bar cart up in Vancouver. And I remember thinking, whatever this is, I want to know more about this. This is so much more sophisticated. This is something that you really take the time to enjoy. You're not, like I said, pounding a vodka soda at a bar, which, at 23, I did do a couple times. Yeah. So I think there was something about that. And now whenever I see Macallan, it does hold like a little place in my head of brings back a memory. So I think there's something about that moment that made me interested in this thing moving forward.
Yeah. I think that whiskey in particular is a gateway for so many of us.
Yeah.
For me,
so smooth.
I went through my era. I remember my wedding. It seems like a million years ago now. That was the whiskey. That whiskey was poured for everyone. Anyway, we're getting up. Every time I do this, I go on a tangent, and then everybody says, "No, more tangents." So I promise we're getting the whiskey now.
The best one I've had recently, though, was the bottle. Speaking of my brother, that you helped me pick out for my brother.
That Vaults collection.
Yes,
is the 105. I forget the code number.
I have it. I have it in my phone. I should know it, but
is it the Basque?
Yes.
Something about the Basque country.
Yes. Yeah. That was unbelievable. He loved it. the box was incredible.
Yeah.
That was the best one I can think of recently.
Yeah.
That blew my mind as just unbelievable.
So you've been spoiled. You've gone
Yes.
through the runner, the runner. You've gone through the ringer.
I've gone through the runner and the ringer at some point.
All right, we're gonna run and ring now. So first of all, just a quick warm welcome to everybody. Who was first in the chat? Warren Buff. Good to see you. Warren Buff says good evening. Good evening, Warren. Duke McHale. I was looking at this earlier. Good to see you, Duke. Love that name, by the way. Whiskey the Gathering says greetings. Christine Daisy. Good to see you, Christine. JT, how's everyone doing this evening? How are you doing, JT? T. Roy's in the house. Good to see you. AB Scott. And T. Roy says, cheers, Casey. Welcome to the addiction.
Let's go.
Love that. Anyway, all 5 of these whiskeys, as I mentioned, are coming tomorrow. We have not tasted any of them. In fact, no one in the U.S., I believe, has at this point. So rather than uncorking
we're breaking
these,
ground here in the U.S. What more can you ask
welcome
for?
home. Rather than tasting these beforehand and coming up with really sophisticated tasting notes, we just said, what the hell? Let's open these live and give our first impressions. So first one we got today is, let me make sure this is the right one. Oh, I'm in the wrong section. All right. Quite an enigma. 52. This is cast number 52.44 called Lively as a Caffeinated Squirrel. It's from a young and sprightly flavor profile. So I don't know if you remember that. We have these 12 different flavor profiles.
Correct, yeah.
So every cast that is approved and scored by our tasting panel is an assigned to one of these 12. And that just helps a lot of members sort of explore different like cast types and distilleries that they may have not otherwise known with the comfort of like their own, palate.
How many bottles do you have to buy in order to name? How do you earn the joy of thinking this is?
I don't know.
This is one day I'm gonna name a bottle. That's all I know. Keep going. Sorry.
Well, we'll revisit that. And okay, I was getting a tangent. Anyway, young and sprightly is the flavor profile. I have not had a young and sprightly whiskey in a long time. Pretty rare to see. This is from a 10-year-old from the Highland region, and it's matured in a nice and pure first fill ex-bourbon barrel. So
it looks
very light.
Nice and light, yeah.
The young and sprightly flavor profile, I find, is usually, and there's like a whole contingent of members who really gravitate towards this. It's the most spirit-driven, meaning usually they're younger whiskeys that have spent less time in the cask. Therefore, they haven't imparted as much flavor from the wood itself into the spirit. So you get a lot of the more natural fruits. Let's figure that and find out if that's the case. But usually, I find these to be the most intense. Not in like when you say intense, you think of like smoky or rich, in sort of a lighter, zesty sort of sense. Let's give it a go. Lively as a caffeinated squirrel. I like that name.
It smells intense.
What is this? 56. Oh, I think I mentioned it, but it is scrolling across the bottom. 56.3%. So decently high. And the first whiskey is always going to be the most intense, just because your body's becoming acclimated to the alcohol.
Yeah, I think at our first tasting, around the 4th or 5th, they started to go down real smooth. I don't know if that's a
no. That's just human nature. So right away, this distillery 52 is up in the Northern Highlands along the sea. So the whiskey produces. Well, funny, this is an interesting snapshot from that distillery. Usually a bit more mature, but it has this like very subtle maritime note. See if you can pick that out, because for me, I get like a little bit of like, it's like baked brioche bread. It's very buttery.
It looks that as well.
Yeah, it looks that.
It almost looks like a Chardonnay.
It's less fruity than. I mean, again, this is the first one, so we'll have more for comparative sake. It's less fruity than I would have expected. A lot of more. It's malty, so you get sort of the cereal grains. You get the baked bread, and just a little bit of sea breeze, if any. It's like a rut. What do you think? First impression, you go. Put you on the spot.
I mean, it's delicious. It is intense.
Yeah.
It's interesting to me. It looks harmless, but it's definitely intense. It almost tastes like a little salty to me, like a sea salt kind of, almost like the TV show Big Little Lies. The gal's just hanging out drinking this, maybe.
We got a TV actor here. Prepare yourself for some TV references, perhaps.
This is delicious, though.
Side note, have you watched The Bear?
Mm-hmm.
Have you guys watched that? I just finished this.
We're almost through season 3.
Yeah. I used to live, I grew up going to that beef shop, like the actual one. Anyway, there's a tangent for you.
This, I would not have this with a beef sandwich, but I would have it.
No.
At the New Bear restaurant, the Michelin star.
Dude, yeah.
This is exactly what I feel like they would pour you.
So I get
with like a nice salad or something as you sit down.
Yeah, definitely like an aperitif.
Right.
You wouldn't have this. I mean, because it's very light and very delicate. I thought it would be. There's an interest. Okay, let me kind of gather my thoughts. There is the instant sort of rush of white peppercorn on the palate. I've already had a water. I'm letting dilute now, but it is vibrant. It's lively, but it's not as fruity, or it's not fruity. It's not tart. Usually, I pick up with like these young and sprightly casks a lot of berries or stewed berries even. I'm not getting much of that. It's more of the baked bread for me, and that saltiness. There's a little bit on the aroma, but I'm getting more on the palate right now.
My first smell of it, I thought it might be a bit more intense than it was. Not that it's not intense, but it's not as big of a punch as I thought it might be compared to the first whiff I had.
You got water yet?
No.
Okay, add some.
Okay.
Really comes alive.
So
try what helps to do. This is just for reference, and everybody at home, you can for who's watching. I like to tilt the glass on the side.
Okay.
And then you can pour it straight down.
Okay.
I like to this helps me visualize. You can see it sort of on the top.
Mm-hmm.
It helps me visualize how much I'm actually putting in.
Okay.
And then you taste it, and if it's still too strong for your liking, you just add more.
Mm-hmm.
So this is 56.3%. So you can add a liberal amount of water to it.
Yeah. Okay. So that opens it up.
Yeah. How does it change it for you? For me, the text it becomes like
I'm getting like white, kind of almost like white grape.
Oh,
like,
interesting.
Like white sea salt, like we said earlier. But I think the buttery bread, like you said, I can definitely get that as well. Now? Yeah.
I mean, usually the water will unlock or sometimes amplify
like green apple
flavors.
Almost a little bit.
Yeah. It tends to bring out more fruits. And I was commenting earlier, I'm not getting a lot of fruits. I do get more of that apple.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe like
it's crisp. It's nice and crisp and clean. It's very like springy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. This is kind of a crude comparison, but like the Sauvignon Blanc of a whiskey tasting.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because the orchard fruits are coming out a little bit more.
And I feel like the second I opened it, my mind was thinking of crisp, like like I said, green apple kind of. But then I think sea salt is a good.
It's still there, man. Anyway. A lot going on for this young and sprightly. Lively as a caffeinated squirrel. There's got to be a reference there that I'm missing. I mean, or it's just the fact that
it is a little buzzy, like a white wine.
Yeah,
buzzy feel to it. Obviously, it's much better than. But it is kind of buzzy, like a squirrel. Maybe if a squirrel had a couple glasses of this, they would be bouncing.
So I would conclude in saying that for young and sprightly, it was not as, for lack of a better word, as alcoholic as I thought. It was strong whiskey. Don't get me wrong. It's 56.3%. But I was surprised with 10 years of wood contact in a first fill bourbon barrel, I guess. So that's pretty fresh wood. You get a lot of that, but it's still more spirit forward. And maybe for context, we'll have more to come, and you'll kind of get what I'm at. Mm-hmm. It's very light, sort of effervescent, but I think with water, big improvement for me. I don't know, what do you think, with or without?
I think I would have done like half as much water as I did for me.
Okay,
but
I added your water, so let's next
so
time.
You ruined it. No, I think probably just half as much, and I would have been perfect. Although in adding more, I did, like you said, it definitely like unlocked some different flavors and smells and aromas that I probably didn't notice before, because it was pretty intense, that first smell, like I said.
Warren Buff says, wow, that's a shockingly quick transition from hitting the TTB database to release. Warren, I follow along all your comments on Discord. Warren's out hunting all the new labels. Like they have a, long story short, we have like a governing body that manages like importation and whatnot. And Warren likes to get all the leaks. Epic. I feel like we should care, Warren. We love it. Like we appreciate the enthusiasm. But yeah, I like seeing that reaction. He also says, lively as a squirrel comes from Shakespeare's Two Gentlemen of
Oh, I should have known that. Yeah. There you go.
I mean, your tasting notes were good, but your ability to pick up theater.
It's been a second since I've done any Shakespeare. Therefore, I forgive myself. However, the fact that you did remember that makes the meaning of the label a whole different thing. And I believe it's less of a reference to a squirrel than
it's just
I probably thought it was.
All right. So this next one, let me put it up here. This is cask number 95.86 called Fit for a King. It's from our spicy and dry flavor profile, which has become quite of a rarity amongst all of our whiskeys. 12 years old, so a couple years older, from the Speyside region of Scotland, which I would describe as like somebody's going to totally not get triggered, but disagree with me. But I would say Speyside is like the heart of Scotland. Like, okay. You're talking about Macallan and the clans. 50%, roughly, I think today, 50% of all whiskey by volume produced in Scotland is from this little sub-region of the Highlands called Speyside. Generally, most of it's unpeated whiskey, as this one is as well. I think orchard fruits drizzled in honey with some vanilla. That's like the classic profile. Anyway, but it's so much more than that. This is from Speyside, from a second fill ex-bourbon barrel. The first one we had was a first fill ex-bourbon. Similar age and cask type, American oak, very pure single cask. But spicy and dry is, like I said, it's something we don't see so often. By the way, can someone comment, how is the audio on this mic that I haven't used in about 4 years? But I had to bring this out for the two of us dueling here. If it's good, if you want us to turn it up or down, now is your chance for instant feedback. Anyway, Fit for a King, 64.4% alcohol. This is one of the strongest whiskeys I think I've seen in a long time.
Just a quick whiff and you'll know that is true. Wow.
That's it. Like burn. It burns a little bit.
Yeah. Clears you out.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh. Cancel your plans tomorrow morning.
Yeah, absolutely. Almost like cinnamon. Are you getting that at all or no?
There is a spice element for sure.
Maybe not. Yeah, something in there. Not quite cinnamon, but something.
The alcohol is reaching out of this glass.
Yeah.
I mean, it really clings the nostrils. So looking past that's a little difficult right now. But there is the wood spice. The flavor profile, again, not to we should just go into it without any expectations, but spicy and dry does suggest it's going to be both of those things. Spicy being one of them. Yeah, I get a little bit of like a wood smoke.
Yeah.
The cinnamon there. Oh.
Almost like when I get the smoker going, like those pellets, like dry, like.
Yeah, Casey's a hell of a smoker.
It smells amazing though, but is intense. That is very intense.
This smells like if you were to go to a distillery, which we should add that to our list of millions of things we want to do. You go to a distillery, you go on a tour, you get to usually, depending on the tour, get to eat the barley, like physically touch and taste all the stages of the different the whiskey making process. This feels like something that would just like you'd sample a cask that was not, dare I say, not ready because I haven't even tasted this yet, but it's just so gripping. It's got a little bit of a sawdust aroma going on. As I'm saying that, I'm thinking, everybody.
It does.
Say, it's too young to be
It does
bottled.
hit you as very dry.
Ooh, yeah.
Very dry.
Let's say cheers. Oh my God, the finish is so gripping.
That is unbelievable.
Oh,
I've never had anything
really?
in my life that's like that. It's almost as spicy when it hits your tongue as like a really intense, like
oh man.
a really intense spice you get at a restaurant or something, like a Thai dish.
Yeah.
Something.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah,
spicy.
Yeah.
And then it just kind of dissolves and it's really nice.
This should not be legal.
That is
I mean,
wild.
yeah.
I've never had anything like that in my life.
This.
But the cool thing is it doesn't linger. It does like dissipate over your tongue.
Well, okay. I'm gonna taste it neat again.
Yeah.
Normally I would just add water straight away because like this is way above the strength that I would normally enjoy. But
I've never had anything like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
unbelievable.
Good.
You have to. Everyone watching this needs to experience what we just experienced.
This is what we
Cannot recommend that enough. Unbelievable.
Yeah. I was excited about this one. All right, I'm gonna give it another go. So, after you've tasted it, nose it again. Are you picking up anything new?
Yeah, it's way less. It's way more tame now.
It really is. Yeah, we were just salted. Basically.
I think sawdust was a great. I think super dry, super woody. I wouldn't say oaky, but very woody. Like you said earlier. Yeah. Not like the Toy Story animal, but wood.
Yeah. Does it transport you anywhere? You said you're an actor, and you have
honestly, yes. This makes me feel like I'm about to chop wood, man.
Yeah,
like
it really does.
Like Grandpa's cabin. We're gonna build a fire tonight, and then we're gonna use the rest of the wood to build an outhouse.
This would be a great hiking whiskey.
Absolutely.
With
campfire.
With
like out. Absolutely.
Sure. I mean, we gotta add water to see how it changes.
Yeah.
But I feel like just being outdoors. This is an outdoor whiskey. I mean, here we are outdoors right now, but
like when my son is old enough, if
yeah.
He's 9 months old, so he's got a while. But him, me, and my like generations. Yeah. If you could have 4 generations drinking this, that'd be unbelievable. You know.
Wow.
Campfire.
That's an impression on you. All right.
Yeah. I want to give this to my brother. No context. It is unbelievable.
Yeah. Oh, just you'll either destroy or strengthen your relationship with him, one or the other.
I've just never had something so spicy.
Yeah.
From a beverage that wasn't like something, you know, a jalapeno margarita or something, but it's so spicy and so sophisticated and then dissipates. And
I think the fact that you having this reaction to this whiskey says a lot about you. I mean, in a good way, because I would not have expected you to not you, but you being where you're at in your stage of like whiskey enthusiasm. Yeah. I would not expect you, because this to me is like this super enthusiast drink.
Really?
Like this is like people who just love the raw single cask spirit.
Well,
like
I mean,
no bullshit, just like
if you cannot, I don't know anyone that could sit down where I am in my journey with this right now, have the sip I just had and think, you know, I've had that experience before. Like that is unlike anything I've ever tasted in my entire life. And not that the first wasn't just as sophisticated as well, but this with the spice level is just unbelievable.
It's a beautiful
and dry. Like it is dry. Like you kind of do want a sip of water after, or like a, you know, something to like wash it down. Your mouth kind of gets a little bit dry after, but it's unbelievable.
Okay. So first of all, I've added water, and then I was quickly reminded of how strong it is. So it didn't change that much. Let's see what Warren says. I was wrong on Shakespeare as a source. It's apparently Oliver Wendell Holmes Sr. It's referenced by someone who's also referencing. Warren.
You could have, you're a true, honest human being. You could have just let that go. We probably wouldn't have Google checked, but I like the honesty there.
So dilute this down to, okay. So,
I just did.
It's not going to be the experience you just had, but I was joking when I said cancel your plans tomorrow morning, but I'm actually no, you should cancel your plans.
I don't have any. We're clear.
We've established that you are an actor, so your work is not as regular, and therefore you're able to come out and just do these.
Yes, currently we are on a break, which is
everybody thank Casey for. All right.
Yes, so now it's not nearly as spicy, obviously, but still a very strong taste to me. You know,
like a lemon seed oil. It's like it's almost become more oily. Well, first of all, it's totally so much more palatable now.
Now it almost tastes kind of smoky to me a little bit, but I think there's just the spice being watered down.
Yeah.
Or diluted.
I get more cinnamon.
Yeah. I was right about this.
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
Point.
at one point, -1 for Warren. Sorry, brother, for the reference, for botching the reference. No, but anyway, less wild and raw, of course, and tannic, but I do get more wood smoke.
Absolutely.
Mm.
You know, this is a ridiculous image, but you know, if you go to, we were talking about this recently, if you go to a hibachi restaurant and they're cleaning the surface before they start cooking, and the water starts to kind of dance on.
Oh yeah.
That's what that taste does on your tongue. You can just feel it like popping around in there like little ping pong balls or something.
When it becomes mellow, you know, man, we just had like such a visceral reaction to that whiskey at cask strength. And look, I've had, you know, plenty of whiskeys at that strength, but like that, I love that one because it was a roller coaster. It wasn't just an assault on your palate.
Yeah.
I mean, there was some degree of that, but it actually took you on a journey. The finish was kind of brief, but it was so drying. Anyway,
camping for sure.
Yeah. A little bit of ginger, maybe some mint. I'm just picking up on the finish right now.
I would say the first one by the beach.
Yeah.
By the ocean.
Yeah.
By a lake.
Yeah.
You could even enjoy this in the afternoon, maybe. Like,
I picked these two. So we have 8 whiskeys coming out tomorrow. I picked 5 of the 8, and I try to do something a little different, but, you know, searching for things that are different. The first one was Enigma because from Distillery 52. We don't see those often. This, I was like, this is just going to be crazy. It's 64%. From a from a spirit that would usually be pretty calm and tame. So it presented this way as like a really raw and assertive. Anyway, a lot of fun. Conclusion, seems like you really into it.
Absolutely.
Experience. I'm like nervous where we're gonna go from here. And if
just so you know, we'll be getting this bottle for sure.
Okay. There.
Because I cannot wait to share that with people and watch the reaction of what that is.
Yeah.
Like that is such a unique experience to have that.
So that I'll tell you is, I'm looking at the bottles here. We got some. Oh shoot! We got 2 that are one. We got one at 59.4, 59.5. Okay, so we got some strong ones here in this lineup. That's the highest in terms of ABV, 64.4, and one of the highest that we see just generally. We're now about to go to something that's so different in at least on paper. We're about to taste it to confirm, but this is cask number 9.266, a kaleidoscope of flavor. There's a black label. We were talking about that earlier, but older whiskey for sure. From Speyside as well.
That's a great name.
A kaleidoscope of flavor. And by the way, it's spelled like the proper British spelling of flavor. And every time I see it with the U, I always pronounce it flavor. But 19 years old. From the sweet, fruity, and mellow flavor profile. Again, this should be, at least on paper, fundamentally different from that one in every way. There is. Oh, look at that too. Look how light it is.
Super light.
Color.
Yeah, we have 3 light right
Look at how light.
Super interesting.
And this is from a first fill bourbon barrel too.
Yeah.
So just to prove
super light, maybe a little darker than. Well, those have been diluted, so I think just as light as the other two.
No. I'm telling you, man. Like this.
That is extraordinarily very light.
And we say that color doesn't really tell you anything. And that's the case here because no 2 casks. Yeah. Because this is from a first fill bourbon barrel, meaning that the barrel was used to age bourbon, shipped over, and immediately filled with the spirit.
Super cool.
For 19 years. That cask can then be reused, and then the whiskey that was produced with that cask would be called second fill, and then third fill. So first fill is the freshest from Kentucky or Tennessee here where we live.
What is the flavor profile of this one?
It's called sweet, fruity, and mellow.
Okay.
So
it better be
the opposite of spicy and dry.
Yeah. It's going to taste like a
53.2%. So
melted Skittles after the last one. Yes. Okay. So it smells super fruity. The polar opposite of what we just.
I'm not going to just get comfortable in my chair now because this is such a different.
Super fruity to me.
Very, very, yeah. Stewed orchard fruits. Think of like a baked apple pie.
Yep.
Oh, with a little bit of vanilla cream. It's a very, very elegant aroma.
Super nice.
Yeah. The last one you would probably give to somebody, like you said, you want to give it to your brother for the experience, with like no context. This you would give to somebody that you probably want to make a good impression on. Like, like that's a sure bet, like
super sweet, almost so like so sweet and creamy, like a cartoon dessert that you see, and you're like, that looks so good, even though it's not real.
Yeah. The label is pink, but I'm thinking the color pink. Like I'm smelling the color pink. I'm thinking of my daughter's princess.
Absolutely.
That she went to this. She's wearing a pink princess dress. Now, take from that whatever you'd like. It's just a very elegant whiskey on the nose.
Ready?
Dude, I'm excited. I like these whiskeys a lot. This style.
Yeah.
Think of that one.
I almost don't even want to taste this one because it smells so nice.
Yeah. Very perfumey.
Yeah. But like the perfumes that make you want to eat dessert, like the
perfumes you buy at Walgreens.
Right.
I mean, like or CVS for wherever you are in the country here. Like fruity ones.
Fruity, yeah, absolutely.
What's it?
Bed Bath & Beyond.
No, not Bed Bath & Beyond. Bath and
Body Works.
I think they go out of business. I don't know. Cheers.
Okay.
I feel like
lemon zesty almost, a little bit.
Really very luscious.
Yeah.
On the palate.
Super
nice.
Texture. Super smooth.
Velvety.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
But sophisticated, classy, fancy.
Yeah. It's fancy.
Fancy, like almost like a suede couch. Fancy. Yeah. A fancy suede couch, though.
Was it okay? Is it safe to say that the last one you take, chopping wood in a campsite, you would take this to the red carpet?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Red carpet, tuxedo, or like a dinner party at a super, super classy house kind of thing. This reminds me, I have a dear friend who lives in New York, has this beautiful townhouse, and they have the most incredible family room on the Upper East Side. It's so classy. Carpet's always like perfectly vacuumed. This reminds me of that room.
Notice he didn't say my house, which is where we're sat at right now.
Your house is...
He's like, oh, I got a friend far away from here.
We're getting there.
Yeah.
No, but like Upper East Side, sophistication,
of course,
pure class,
of course.
Old school.
This is not what my house tastes like. This is... I feel like, though, on the palate, like everything the ways we've described it as is a bit different from the aroma, because we were talking about it like
super sweet,
like confectionery
dessert.
Sugar, elegant.
We've
gone from like elegant to classy.
Like I said, I almost didn't want to taste it because it smelled so clean and creamy and beautiful, but it made it taste even more sophisticated and classy to me once I hit my palate.
Yeah,
unbelievable. I wouldn't need to dilute this. I don't think. I could enjoy that.
Our palates are officially warmed up. I mean,
absolutely.
I'm going to add water.
Especially after what we just...
Yeah, exactly.
But that is very nice.
I think this is a classical representation of like Speyside whiskey. It's softer, it's approachable. Again, what we had before was from Speyside. The regionality only means so much. Don't let it dictate your experience. But
this is amazing too. I love this one as well.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of the orchard fruits are really.
I'm a little proud of where my palate.
Yeah,
like we talked a little bit.
You're doing good.
We talked a little bit before about how, as someone that's new, how you can you kind of let it take you somewhere, and how it really, if you allow it to, it really does that. I know most of you know that far beyond what I know, but it really does take you somewhere if you just let it hit your palate.
No, you have a good palate. I mean. I wish I knew, but what you're picking out and like what's piquing your interest is
for some reason
surprising.
Like lemon zest keeps coming to my head.
Yeah. Let's taste actually a little bit more water.
We've been cooking this recipe at our place that has lemon zest in it. I'm trying to remember what the recipe is, but it's reminding me of that dish. I'm trying to remember what it was.
That's a good dessert whiskey, but like not after a steak.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
You know, after like a lighter meal
Yep,
with
like
like some
a
fruitcake.
nice salad, and then
Yeah.
this with
Distillery 9, the casks that we've acquired tend to be very oily and viscous, which I like. I like texture in a whiskey because it usually makes for a longer finish. All these whiskeys are, in contrast, a lot of whiskeys on the shelf are not chill filtered, which is a process of essentially like purifying the spirit, but it also eliminates like some of the amino acids and substances from the wood that give it texture. All these are not chill filtered. They're really like, only thing we've done to it is essentially a rough charcoal filter to remove sediment that would essentially kill you or potentially. So, but nonetheless, this is pretty oily, and I like that. I've added some water now, so you can't see the band at the top, but it's pretty thick.
Yeah, absolutely delicious.
Okay, so we have these tasting notes in the bottle too. This one says overripe pears, which is a good shout out because I was saying like really stewed fruits or overripe pears, apples, and bananas merged with tart raspberries, dried apricots, and lemon sherbet before we found Chinese spiced hot cross buns. Oh, that sounds really good right now. I would go for some. Okay. Anyway. That is a kaleidoscope of flavor.
That was awesome. That's
fun.
super unique as well. Super fun.
We've had every one has been pretty different so far.
Yeah.
And these are so far have all been unpeated, which is out of your
I would absolutely that tasting those back to back is really fun.
Yeah.
Really fun.
Next one we have is 85.88. Nothing else to it.
I thought you were going to say 85%.
Oh,
I was going to say,
no.
I'm not drinking that.
I don't think that was
that
85.88.
I was like, never heard of that.
Just ethanol.
Yeah, that's
ethanol with like reposado.
Yeah.
Anyway, no. This is cask 85.88 called Nothing Else to It. 13-year-old space cider also from the sweet, fruity, and mellow flavor profile. A bit younger on this one and a different little cask makeup. This is 13 years old, matured in a combination of, matured for 10 years, in an ex-bourbon hogshead, which is like the most common type of cask in Scotland, bourbon wood. And then we've transferred the contents of that cask to a second cask that we've acquired, which previously held Oloroso sherry. And this, spoiler alert, it's not the last Oloroso sherry one we have tonight. But sweet, fruity, and mellow flavor profile. Members watching this right now would probably know that if it's in sherry and it's in this flavor profile, it's probably not too much in terms of the cask influence.
much darker.
Definitely darker though. Yeah, still.
Not dark. I wouldn't call it dark, but compared to what we've had, much darker.
Yeah.
Yep.
So this is okay. I was debating whether we should do this one before the last one, but there's a.
I'm glad we didn't.
Yeah. Okay, so
and I say that because this, having the contrast of these, the last two we did was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Now we're going into something that clearly is a bit, a little more intense than what we just had.
Maybe?
Absolutely.
I mean, we've definitely dialed up the intensity from that sort of elegant, pretty whiskey. The Oloroso sherry is there.
Mm-hmm.
With Oloroso, you tend to get like think of like dark fruits, like there's an herbaceousness, maybe some pine needles, cloves. There's like a nutty characteristic that Oloroso will impart in the spirit.
This from first smell, I would have after a steak.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're going more now towards end of the meal.
Absolutely, yeah.
But there are some bright red fruits too. It's
still not end of the night.
Yeah. It's not overpowering. This is it's very well balanced.
Super well balanced. Yeah.
There's some dried ginger for sure. For me. It's funny. I know, like I've done this. That strong one we had, the 64.4. Like we were all set up like this. Like we had that last one, we were all chill like this.
This is in between.
Now we're like
this is kind of a
body language is telling it all. Sorry.
It kind of, like you said, this one kind of is pepping me back up again.
Yeah.
It almost, first impact of the smell is not, like I said, after a steak, but now it's kind of like, it is a bit vibrant, you know.
Oh, really, really nice balance between those Oloroso notes. And, you know, and funny enough, we know what this whiskey is, but if I were to just nose this blind, I wouldn't know that there was Oloroso sherry. I would say, you know, maybe it's like a really active bourbon cask or a recharred hogshead or something. And just because it's not, and spoiler alert again, where we're going from here, you'll see a more prominent take of sherry.
Mm-hmm.
But just a bit light, well balanced. Cheers. 59.5%. Oh,
It's a little spicy.
spiciest, I would say.
It's got a little kick.
Okay. Oh, a lot of baking spices on the palate.
Yeah. Tangy.
Shoot. Whereas this Fit for a King, that spicy and dry one, was like wood spice.
Yeah.
This is baking spice.
Yep.
It's a bit more luscious, but it's intense. Almost 60%.
It's, yeah.
I gotta add some water. I just gotta go straight to water. It's got more red fruits, and it's got a lot of dry ginger, and heavy on the cinnamon and the nutmeg. But it doesn't, which are notes you typically find in a sherry matured whiskey, Oloroso sherry, but it doesn't have the same dark fruits and like the clove element that you would get. There's no okay, let me put it this way. There's no wintergreen aspect to this whiskey, which is something you would get in a more sherry fort whiskey. And I hate to do this. No, I don't. I love to do this. You talked about the Macallan earlier. There's a whiskey out there that Macallan made. I don't know if it's something called the Classic Cut. So if anybody watching you guys, this is helpful. This reminds me of that in that there is, which was I think mostly made with American oak Oloroso sherry casks. It has the dried ginger. It's more of like an autumnal whiskey than it is a total like middle of winter snow day whiskey.
Yeah, it's pretty fiery.
Yeah.
Very, very much contrast to what we just had. It is a little spicy.
Yeah. Let me go back with some water now.
Yeah, it's a little. This one's pretty complicated for me. It's not as easy to.
Yeah.
To
2 casks though. It's spent its life in 2 casks, so it's got like this. I don't want to say surface level complexity. Not to diminish the observation because I agree with you. It's the most complex whiskey we've had, bar none. You know, because it has a duality. There's a little bit
definitely spices, like you said, baking spices. That makes sense to me. I wouldn't have picked that out of my brain, but you saying it dead on.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Delicious, but very complicated.
Yeah. A little bit more tannic on the palate with some water. Anyway, if you like sherry and you want something that's not quite a sherry bomb, which is a term that we use, it's just used to describe like a whiskey that's like really heavy. Do you ever had sherry yet?
I've had sherry. I've never had a sherry bomb.
Okay.
But
a sherry bomb is a whiskey that's like just absorbs so much flavor from the sherry cask itself that it's just like I think we have one coming up, so let's see. Very, very light, well balanced. A bit of a summary of the first 3. I would say, we should maybe after the stream we should combine the contents of the first 3 glasses and compare it with this whiskey in our glass right here.
Yeah, actually,
yeah.
That's what it does taste like.
I know.
Because it's got the spice of the Fit for a King.
Yeah.
It's not all the way as like we said, creamy as the one we just had prior, but it's very complicated.
Yeah. I would say it's the most well-rounded of them all. If that's good or bad, I don't know. It's definitely sophisticated. while still being a sort of again 59.5%. So it's out the gate at neat, it's a bruiser.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, a lot more ginger for me. Anyway, that's that one. 85.88. Nothing else to do it. We got one more coming up right now, and I've been talking about it. First of all, just real quick comment, everybody. What's in the glass right now? I didn't do that at the beginning of the stream. Do you have a dram at hand on this fine Monday evening? If so, what is it? I always like to start a conversation that way, but here we are with the last whiskey, and I'm asking it now. This one is 41.163, quite unusual. It is a 16-year-old Space Cider as well, matured in 2 casks, ex-bourbon hogshead, and a first fill ex-Oloroso hogshead. Now, the last one we had was a few years younger, Space Cider, different distillery, but it spent 10 years in ex-bourbon hogshead and then 3 years in a second fill Oloroso hogshead, meaning that sherry cask was used to age whiskey, Scotch whiskey once already. This is fresh sherry cask.
Okay.
So we should expect
Some sherry
in the glass here. Let's put your glass right here just for context.
Oh, wow.
It is the darkest one
by far
on the table by far. Yeah. But it's not just on color. It's like what I don't know how else to describe this. You've seen Jurassic Park, I presume.
Yeah.
It's like the tree sap that the mosquito was caught in. The amber tree sap. See what I'm talking about?
Yeah. That's the most random.
No, it's not random. It's perfect. Okay, so. Whew.
Yeah.
You can articulate that sound effect. What do you getting? Oh.
It's like a sharp punch. It's straight to the head. I would say of everything we've tasted, this has the most sharp. I keep using the word sharp, intense kind of pop to the head in terms of smell, but also like perfumey.
Yeah,
very perfumey.
This one draws you in. Like just nosing this, it's a really, really deep and complex aroma. I get a lot of dark chocolate, like some macadamia nuts. It is nutty. Oh man, a little bit of like a freshly ground espresso.
Yep.
What did you say, Hawaii?
Hawaii. It's giving me like
Hawaii
vibes.
Oh,
like the nuts, the coffee.
Oh. Warren says, I've noticed my SWS tasting glasses concentrate aromas more than any other classes I use. It is true. The shape of these has a pretty narrow opening. So that combined with the fact that it's cast strength, it's a very funneled, dispersion. Funnel, channel.
This is
concentrated, whatever. I agree with you, Warren. Definite sherry, but a little bit of worn leather. Classic leather armchair fireplace whiskey. Here we are at 90 degrees. Casey's wearing like his winter garb.
Yeah, I don't know why I wore this now. You called me out right when I got here, but
I'm fine.
It's not that bad.
No, it's not that bad. But this whiskey, you're dressed for this whiskey, I would say.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Man, I can't get past the chocolate. I'm looking for some berries. Maybe some blackcurrant or maraschino cherries, if anything.
Yeah.
But it's like, those fruits are not alive. They've been baked. There is nothing alive here except for.
I get maraschino cherry, almost like some licorice.
Yeah. Christine.
And chocolate.
Sounds like Ben has some vocal birds there. Well, they are native to these lands.
We do have birds here.
We do have birds.
Cheers. I almost took it without saying cheers. Sorry.
Oh, it's really hot too.
That's amazing, man.
Oh, that's a really good one.
That's
it's really intense though.
Yeah, it is intense, but it's perfect. Like
Yeah.
it is
Yeah.
exactly the way I wanted it to taste.
Oh man.
Chocolatey. Maraschino cherry, I think is great. Leather chair.
Oh.
Unbelievable. I would have that.
Okay. I'm gonna chase this neat again.
I would have that in a leather chair.
Okay, I thought you were gonna say like I would have that like for breakfast.
I wouldn't have that for breakfast. I would have the third one for breakfast. This is not a breakfast. This is a dessert.
This is, I think. Okay, well, I'm not gonna draw any conclusions just yet. I'm gonna taste it neat one more time. Between the two of us, I think I had the most flamboyant reaction. You were very calm and cool and collected. You would think that this was my first time. But
I was calm. I don't know if I was cool.
Well,
kidding.
When I noticed this, it was so deep and mellow. And again, it's the fifth whiskey for us. And so it just, nosing it, the aroma was the most approachable. I was surprised by the palate because, again, this one is 59.4, so close to 60%.
Super bright.
Threw me off, yeah.
Super almost loud. Like, makes me think of like a great choir at church singing big old harmonies.
Go on.
Way high up. It's like, boom. Really good, though.
Oh, I never asked you this because I've never asked anyone this before. So, because you are a singer too. So Casey's an actor. We talked about that, but he's also done. He was leading in Broadway. He's done some big Broadway productions. But are you an alto?
No, an alto. Well, that's a female.
That's a female. Are you
tenor?
You're a tenor.
I would say they're a tenor / tenor.
Oh, really?
Tenor. Yeah,
actually
tenor.
Are most men tenors?
No, I would say most men are. I would say most men are baritones.
There are no alto males?
There are. They're called countertenors.
Oh, okay.
But a lot of some men can sing up there for sure.
I used to play the alto saxophone.
Yeah, there you go.
And that was my introduction to alto.
But I'd say most men fall in the baritone category.
Yeah.
And then some.
I definitely do.
But as actually interesting enough,
I also can't sing. But
maybe there's a like
someone cares. Go
relationship
ahead.
to bottling or something. As when men go through puberty in their teens, their voices drop, but then their voices don't fully kind of go back to the exact place they would be until their early 30s.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting kind of how it goes down, and then it builds back up, and then it starts sitting where it normally would once you're in your 30s, which is super interesting.
Randy says Team Alto Sax.
There we go.
See, we're everywhere. We're everywhere. All right, I'm gonna add some water to this.
This is super interesting.
I think this. Okay.
I love how different each and every one was. The only two I found almost in the same, maybe camp, but completely different were the second and the fourth, Fit for a King, and then the fourth was nothing else to it. Or no, the fourth was Kaleidoscope of Flavor. This is completely almost. It tastes like a different.
This is a nighttime
world.
Dram.
Yep, for sure.
I mean,
but not like not like a deep nighttime. Like I'm gonna sink into a chair. More of like I want to reflect on the day.
Yeah.
And see what's for tomorrow, and maybe get ahead of my work tomorrow while having this. Like it's super bright, super exciting.
Yeah.
Super fun. Like I said, it makes me think of a choir hitting like the perfect harmony at the end of a song.
Let's just reflect, everybody, because that's the fifth of the evening. Casey, just your thoughts overall on the tasting experience.
Yeah, I mean, like I think anyone that watched, my reaction the second it hit my palate, I would say super unique. Every bottle is completely different. If you're looking for, something crazy, like I said, that second one really blew my mind. The third one, which was
sorry. Let me put these back in order for you just for reference. So here.
Okay. Kaleidoscope, or wait, was it nothing else to it then Kaleidoscope?
No.
Okay.
We did the Kaleidoscope because these were the Fit for a King.
Right.
The Spicy and Dry was a polar opposite of that.
Right.
Then we went back to something like in between,
Right.
which I said was like a summary of the first three.
I think for me, I think there was two bottles here that I've never tasted anything like it. The other three were super sophisticated and incredible, but it did remind me of something I have tasted in the past. I would say Fit for a King was a wild experience.
Yeah. You had a reaction. I was pretty stoked that you had that reaction.
And then Kaleidoscope of Flavor was so sophisticated. I've said that word a bunch, but it was so classy that I really enjoyed the experience of tasting that one.
Yeah.
Quite Unusual is really fun, especially after those other four. Yeah. And like you said, nothing else to it. I would say if we literally combined these three into one cup, I think it would taste like this one, which makes it super complicated and really, really interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was incredible. It's a really unique experience for someone that's new to this to be able to have sophistication of this level and be able to watch the palate kind of expand.
Yeah.
So it was really cool.
You did good. I mean, it's pretty natural. I mean, you picked out some really interesting like tasting notes that I hadn't picked up, and then not that I say that I'm like the best at this, but
you have done it a couple times, right?
I've done it a couple times. Man, I'd spicy enjoyed the Fit for a King. It's so funny because that's not a whiskey I would reach for. Like it's just hanging out by myself. But I would definitely share that whiskey with anybody. Anytime somebody comes over, I'd be like, "You want something that's really cool? Like something that'll blow you away." Like I would pour that one for sure.
Yeah, and as you know, you all definitely know this again more than I do. But as you start to accumulate more bottles, it's fun to have one that you only really pull out when you're sharing it with some people, and you're like, "I have something you need to try," or maybe you don't even warn them. You give them a taste of that and just see kind of what happens. But that's super unique. You can't go wrong with any of these. They're all unbelievable. I wouldn't give any of them.
Yeah. These were freshly opened too, and I think with some time to breathe, they're going to evolve a little bit.
Absolutely.
Usually for the better. Anyway, guys, that's the Outturn preview.
Are they being released? You said tomorrow at 1 p.m., right?
Tomorrow at 1 p.m. All these will be dropping along with a few others. But this is the lineup we picked. Some pretty interesting whiskeys out there. We'll see. Drop a comment once we end this live stream. Drop a comment in the replay if you have any questions, or shoot us a note, and we'll talk about the whiskeys. But Casey, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, man. Pleasure. Nice to meet you all virtually. This was incredible.
Yeah. Comment if you want Casey to come back, and next time we can put you to the test. We'll do like a blind tasting and just totally try to like. We like to embarrass people here.
My favorite football. I'm a big Buffalo Bills fan, and they were testing milk with the guys today, which was hilarious. They had like whole milk, 1%, all those. But this might be much more interesting than the milk flavors.
So a quick comment, actually, Duke. Thank you for calling us out. We just got these whiskeys like a couple hours ago, so I don't yet have the spreadsheet, guys. So apologies. I'm going to tell you real quick verbally what else is coming back. Excuse me, what else is coming out tomorrow. Bottle of the month is cask 48.161. Time for a cuppa. It's a 14-year-old from a first filled bourbon barrel, spicy and dry as well, for $150. We have a Lowland whiskey. It's 5.109 called Pencil Cases on the Palate. Apologies, I'm just reading this off. 19-year-old Lowland from a first filled barrel from the juicy oak and vanilla flavor profile for $240. And then 58.52 called Fun in the Sun. All right. 13-year-old Space Cider from Sweet Fruity and Mellow. Matured exclusively in a first filled bourbon barrel for $145. And that's it for the Outturn. Those are the other three. So apologies for not having this sheet so you could see it all at once, but that's what's coming out tomorrow. And so thanks again. Hold on, Casey. And have a good evening. See y'all. Cheers.